Добро пожаловать. I've decided that I'm going to do some audio-only videos in the style of guys like Straight Dope and Mr. Medicare because, quite frankly, one of the big reasons why I haven't been making a lot of videos for quite some time is that it's very time-consuming to edit a video. And who has time to get camera ready and put on a shirt and comb their hair and pick the Dorito crumbs out of their beard, and then after you get all the footage you need, you got to sit there in a video editing program for 2 hours and make it look good. Guys, I've got a job and a family and a life, and I just haven't had time for that anymore. But I think if I make videos this way, I could actually start releasing them on more of a regular basis again like I used to. Well, anyway, the title of this video is Election Time, and I'd like to talk about politics. Big surprise, right? I haven't voted in the last 4 presidential elections. 4. That's the number after 3 and before 5. It's been a long, long time. But I'm going to be getting out to the polls to vote this time around. Yes, the anarchist is going to vote. Ha ha ha, get it out of your system. But I am. Just like I drive on public roads, just like I post letters in the U.S. Postal Service, I'm gonna participate in civic life this time. Now, what does it take to get a guy like you, Smooth Terrorist, out to the polls? Because it really has been a long time. Why now? Well, what it takes is the threat of thermonuclear annihilation. Yep, I'm still beating that drum. I'm still talking about it. I'm going to keep talking about it until I feel that the threat has passed. Let's talk about what's not being discussed on the mainstream media, unless you consider InfoWars the mainstream media. So we're into Ukraine. We've got NATO missiles positioned in the Baltic states. We're trying to oust Bashar al-Assad to build a pipeline. These are things that you guys probably already know. You may even know, if you're kind of into politics and you read your own news instead of just watching whatever's on TV, you may even know that recently the Russian Federation had a huge emergency preparedness drill where millions of people were herded into fallout shelters. Now, are there any non-thermonuclear annihilation possible explanations for why they did this? Could it have been just a general emergency preparedness drill? Pardon me. Well, sure, it could. I mean, they could have been hedging their bets against an earthquake or a tsunami. Sure. But if you believe that, then I ask you this question: why haven't they done this before? Right? Okay, why don't they do it once a year? Why now? Got you thinking, right? Good. Well, while you're thinking about that, think about this. The Russian Federation has recently begun running round-the-clock strategic bomber overflights, just like they used to during the height of the Cold War. Now, they haven't done that for over a decade. They are doing it now. So the handwriting's on the wall. The pieces on the chessboard are in motion. The hour is late. Use whatever metaphor you want, but we're in trouble. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for the human species. And I wouldn't like to die quite yet. I feel like my soul isn't quite prepared yet. I think I'd like to live a little bit longer. Watch my kid grow up, Did I just say that? Oops. Guys, I'm going to be voting, and I'm going to be voting for Donald Trump. Probably not a surprise to people who have been watching my recent videos. But I want to make something very, very clear, because I've seen quite a bit of speculation in my comments sections lately. People seem to think I've turned into some kind of Pepe the Frog loving, Breitbart Milo Yiannopoulos, alt-right Nazi type, more or less. Well, I haven't. I'm sorry to disappoint you. In many respects, I'm still an SJW in the same vein as Aid Skrillex and Triggly Puff. Case in point, I fully support Black Lives Matter. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a healthy thing. I think it's an idea whose time has come. Yes, I'm aware that George Soros is involved in funding it, but that's not enough to sour me against it. Like, I'm less concerned with George Soros's motivations than I am with the motivations of the protesters themselves. But that's a video topic for another. And but by the way, for anybody who thinks that me saying this, I'm just virtue signaling in order to get brownie points or pats on the back. Oh, good boy, you like Black Lives Matter. Well, no, that's not what I'm doing. If you've been following my videos for a long time, because I've been making them since 2006, then you probably know I'm a little bit less concerned with my reputation than the average personality on YouTube. I'm not going to say I don't care what people think about me. Of course, we all care. We're all social animals. We all have feelings, and we all care. But I don't lose a lot of sleep over what people think about me. I really don't. I think I was just kind of born different in that way. So when I say I support Black Lives Matter, it's not because I'm virtue signaling for brownie points and pats on the back. It's because I support Black Lives Matter. I think it's a good thing. I think, frankly, that African Americans don't have a fair shake in this country. I don't agree with this rhetoric that I hear on Paul on 4chan all the time that, it's been 200 years since slavery. Why can't they get their acts together? Why is the crime rate so high? Why are their communities so impoverished? Well, the simple answer to that is slavery ended, but oppression did not end. And it hasn't been 200 years since the Tulsa riot, for example. For those who don't know, which is an incident where the wealthiest African American community in the country was burned to the ground by pissed off white people who didn't like the idea of somebody who looks different than them having more money than they do. So, I look at things like that. I look at the prison statistics. I look at these police shootings that seem to come out every few hours. And I'm forced to conclude that the Black Lives Matter movement has a valid point. Nothing that they say is incorrect. Everything they say, in my opinion, is factually accurate. And they have a legitimate axe to grind. So, I just wanted to throw that out there and dispel this growing misconception that I've turned into a white nationalist Nazi or something like that. I haven't, Okay, yeah, I found faith, and yeah, I'm a little bit sexist, sure, and a little bit racist, frankly. But have I turned into some kind of rabid, foaming at the mouth Nazi? The answer is no. But I am going to vote for Trump, despite the fact that I think that's the crowd he's mostly pandering to. And I really don't like the idea of having a Berlin-style wall erected along our southern border. I don't like the idea of some kind of national deportation force going around and rousting illegal aliens out of their homes. I think that stuff is terrifying. I think Trump's remarks about wanting to see Chelsea Manning, formerly known as Bradley Manning, executed, I think that's equally horrifying. I don't think Trump's a good guy. I don't think he's I don't think he's a very nice person, but this isn't an election for Pope. We're electing a president. He doesn't have to be a nice guy. He doesn't have to be somebody that you would want to sit down and have a beer with. He doesn't have to be someone that you would trust to chaperone your teenage daughter to the high school prom. He just has to run the country. And he has to keep us out of war. And that is what I'm going to be voting for him based on, is those criteria. Now, I want to quickly address this conspiracy theory, which is being put forth by the mainstream media and the Clinton campaign, that the Kremlin is trying to influence the outcome of our election, that Vladimir Putin was behind the Clinton email hacks. Well, let me state, for the record right now, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory at all. I think it's absolute fact. I definitely think that the Kremlin is trying to influence the outcome of this election in favor of Trump. And if that doesn't make you want to vote for him, I don't know what would. I mean, look, am I saying we should let foreigners pick our president for us? In this specific instance, I am. Generally, I wouldn't say that. But when the object is to keep the country out of war, wouldn't it be nice to have a president who the president of the other country is actually willing to sit down at the table with and have a conversation, rather than somebody who he hates? I think so. Not only that, but Trump has mentioned reducing our involvement with NATO, which is something I've been wishing I would hear a politician say for decades. Guys, let me ask you a question. Why does NATO still exist? Why does that Cold War relic still exist? Is the Warsaw Pact still out there somewhere? Why do we have a NATO? Why do we need a NATO? It exists for no other purpose besides provocation. And I just think it really jumps out at me, the fact that this is never mentioned at all. You know, you never hear mainstream politicians talk about our involvement with NATO. You never hear the media talk about our involvement with NATO. It's just something that we all accept. It's like a foregone conclusion. Of course we're involved. Of course we're going to keep giving money to NATO. Of course. This is what we do. Well, why? Isn't it time we rethought this? I think so. And even if it turns out to be an empty campaign promise, kind of like Trump's version of Obama saying that he was going to close down Guantanamo, frankly, I don't care, because he's put U.S. involvement with NATO into the political discourse. Now it's something that people are going to be thinking about, something that people are going to be talking about, and that's a step in the right direction. So if you were wondering what it takes to get a guy like me off his ass and out to the polls, well, now you know. It takes a gun to my head. I don't want to die. And I think, frankly, we're very close. I think anyone who thinks otherwise is either brainwashed by the media or simply delusional. You know, anytime you stick a microphone in front of Putin's face, he says in no uncertain terms, we're preparing for nuclear war with the United States. He's not shy about coming right out and saying it. Why aren't we listening? So anyway, just wanted to make a little quick video for you guys, let you know who I'm going to be voting for, and I hope that I can influence some of you guys to do the same thing. And for the same reason, because it's the right reason to vote for him. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Keep it fake. До свидания.